Good evening and welcome along to another episode of Not Another Rangers podcast. The podcast that is free, continues to be free and always will be free. On the weekend that saw us pick up our first 3 points of the season, did we see the good, the bad and the ugly of Rangers at the weekend? Champions League qualifier awaits us all tomorrow at Hampden, and a win, no matter how good, bad or ugly, is all that matters. And joining me to discuss this and more is our own version of the good, the bad and the ugly. It's myself, Scott Kerr and Ricky Forbes, and yous at home can decide which is which. Ricky, how are we? It's been a long time no see, my friend.
Yeah, Davey, I've been missing you. I've been watching the shows, but unfortunately work took over and I didn't have a very good signal where I was, but I'm back to get involved again, so looking forward to the chat, buddy.
And Scott Kerr, how are we, my friend?
As usual, Davey. I was just about to start singing there. You kept saying free, free, and free. I was about to say I'm free to do what I want any old time. Start to go.
We'll hopefully save the sing song for the morrow night if the result is positive. So let's get stuck right into it. There's a few sort of talking points today that we could really get our teeth sunk into. But the first one I want to start with is obviously Graham Souness on TalkSport this morning. It was on with Jim White and Simon Jordan. And he was talking about the inner sanctum of the Rangers board. And obviously, we know that there's a big problem at the moment that we don't have a CEO in charge. He alluded to the fact that he was heavily involved in the interview process. And for him, there's just no a football guy there at Rangers. So, Ricky, I'm going to come to you first with that. Does that allude to the fact that we can't shift players out because we really don't have anybody there that's comfortable doing that? Obviously, we've got Coppin in, but he's been a chief scout all these days. So we're kind of stuck with Deadwood at the moment. And because we've got that Deadwood, we can't really get fresh blood in until they're out. So is it kind of shown the inner sanctum of the club at the moment and not too good a light?
Yeah, for sure. But these guys are on big wages and it's a big problem. I mean, I don't think Cantwell wants to be sitting in the B team and I don't think Hagi wants to be sitting in the B team. But their wages are that high that when their agents are touting them to other teams, it's very difficult for us to get rid of them because of the high wage that they're on. We definitely have a huge problem, and we need definitely a director of football, and we need a CEO in pronto. We need to give Coman a much more of a helping hand than what he's getting just now. He needs money. He needs players in. We've got 18 days of the window to go, and he needs help to get these players in. But we need to get these players out. But if no team's bidding for them, we're stuck with them. I saw reports today. Hagi's on about maybe staying at Rangers again after all the stuff that's went on in the summer. That would be crazy, but we'll see what happens,
And Scott, see for you, the fact that Souness is so publicly talking about it and the fact that he was part of the interview process last year, and I think he was invited in because we don't have a football guy at the helm. Is that a concern for you going forward? Because at this point in the season, it's paramount for us to get our business right before the window closes so that we can mount a challenge of sorts to Celtic. And anything less than that is going to be deemed unacceptable. I think it's fair to say where our squad sits at the moment, it's a good bit away from that. So does it surprise you that that's come out from the inner sanctum of the club?
No, the way we do business at this moment in time, nothing surprises me, Davey. You can see yourself the way the stadium's going on, the shenanigans there, the way we're trying to sell and buy players, not having a CEO, not having a director of football. It's come on and Cotton's basically a glorified scout by all accounts. So, listen, I don't know what's going on at the club. It's up to John Bennett to come out and tell us. But last time he came out and tell us something, it was a well-scripted piece, but he kind of tried to appease us, but never really told us much else. Listen, the club's not been running great for years. We all know that, but we have to start moving forward. We can't keep sitting still or going backwards. It's no helping because the fans are doing everything we can. We're backing them with season tickets, my jails, merchandise. We're going everywhere. We're not even playing at Ibrox. We're going to Hampden and we travel abroad. We travel all around the country. And it's difficult because the fans will always go because you know yourself, like you, Ricky, myself, we're all we'll go through thick and thin, but sometimes it's been that thin recently. You start to question things, and I think the board aren't doing themselves any favours, and I don't think Clement is either.
Ricky, if we take that point that Scott makes, obviously John Bennett came out and he done his wee piece and he said they're all in with Clement. But last year, I think it's fair to say that the board were all in on Michael Beale, and we're still trying to repair the damage from that. So is that a worry for you in terms of the language we're using as a club? I get that Clement's an experienced manager, but in the modern game, it's not like when Walter Smith was in charge, or Dick Advocat was in charge, or Alec McLeish was in charge, although Alec McLeish did have a director of football. Clubs don't operate the way where the manager is the figurehead of the club and makes all the decisions and is an all-encompassing figure. Does it worry you that, again, it looks like we've got all our eggs in the one basket with the manager, and the decisions that we don't want to fall at his door are going to fall at his door?
Yeah, it's like we're making exactly the same mistake we did with Michael Beale. We'll just let Michael Beale run wild with the signings. He could bring in any player he wanted. And this time last year, every single supporter was looking at these players he'd brought in, and we were all horrified. 1 year on, you would have thought the club would have took a backward step, looked for a director of football to work with Clement to build it together so that you've got continuity. But that's not been the way it is. It's like we're making exactly the same mistakes with Clement. Even worse, we're not even giving them the money to sign the players. We're still watching the same players from last season, and that's really frustrating the fans, which is disappointing. We're watching the same players from last season give us the same performances. They perform for about 30 minutes, and then 40 minutes, 45 minutes, and then it's the same massive drop-off that was happening last season, and it's really disappointing for the fans. Like Kerr says, I mean, the support in pre-season was unbelievable. The away fans in Berlin, the fans all over Europe, the fans will follow the club, you know. And it's about time the club gave us something back, for sure. We've got 18 days left in the window, and we need to see 4 or 5 players in before that 18 days is over, for sure, you know.
No, I think you make a few good points there, Ricky. And just to touch on the one that he does make, Kerr, and that is in regards to the squad and the bodies that we do need in. We did play Motherwell, our first, unofficial home game, shall we say, of the season at the weekend. We did get the all-important first league victory of the season. There were patterns of play in the first half. I think that we did look good. I think all our good stuff came from, Václav Černý being heavily involved in it. Do you see signs of positivity going forward, or is the counterbalance to the argument there, as Ricky said, after 30, 35 minutes of decent football, we just reverted to type and we looked very sluggish in the second half?
We did, but I think we had enough chances to put the game to bed before that. We obviously never took them, but I think I've seen enough in the first half to say you can see certain points, what we're trying to do. You can see we were doing. I thought we were doing well. I thought the play with Černý, Carve, even the mandate times, like wee triangles they were doing, I thought that was quite encouraging. I thought Barham was excellent again. I thought Proper actually done okay. It was his first game. He was getting used to the game, Scottish game, but you can see his experience. He comes out with the ball well. He reading the game was really good, and I thought he won most of his headers. I thought he won most of them. Yeah, he scored that OG, but that was just unfortunate. I mean, he was the last player that defensive that came off him, so I don't lay any blame at him at all. But it was after that we were kind of hanging on. Now, Motherwell didn't have a lot of chances near the end, but you know yourself, a long ball into the box has caused us issues before, or a set piece into the box has caused us issues. So we were kind of hanging on near the end. And I don't know what we were trying to do. We just couldn't hold it up. Dessers stopped holding up, and I thought he'd done okay in the first half. But is it because you've not got enough new players in? I don't know. Is it maybe the way we changed style? Because you said Černý went off. They brought in Sterling. They moved it about a bit, and I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to do. Sometimes it looks like you can see what he's trying to do, and other times you think you don't know. But the players have to take some responsibility, David, when they're on the park. They can't always look at the bench and say to the manager, "Where have I to be?" You've got to take responsibility, and that sometimes I don't think they do.
See, just on that, Kerr, just touching on that point, you're saying that you felt Dessers dropped out it. But how many 90 minutes has he had to play recently? Because Clement's no willing to, get the players that are on the bench that play in his position on because he says they're not fit enough. It's a concern to me. I always think back to Van Bronckhorst when we had the run to the Europa League final, and he played Morelos at Dens Park when he didn't need to. Sometimes you just need to take the guy out for that 10, 15 minutes to give him a rest. But at the moment, it seems that Dessers is playing every minute, every game. Is that a concern for you?
It is at the moment, because not fitness-wise, but in case anything happens to him, because if anything happens to Dessers, we're snookered, basically, because Daniel's not played any minutes apart from, I think his last performance, he came on against Man United. Motherwell, I don't think he's won the pitch since. The other boy, Igmani's training with the team, he's getting better, closer, but he's still not played any football. So if Dessers go, who plays there? We're going to be struggling now. Listen, I know he gets a lot of abuse, Dessers. He gets it from me, he gets it for everybody. But at the moment, he's least our problems. He is scoring goals. Is it enough to win the league? Like I said on Friday night, Davey, you can't rely always on him. We need goals from other areas of the park, which don't get often enough. So I think as a team in general, we all need to move forward together. But I don't know if we've got enough talent in that squad to do that. Because some of the players, like Ricky mentioned, they revert back to what they already know last season or the season before that.
Davey, yeah, can I just jump in there? Also, we need the team lacks leaders there. I don't care what anyone says. The team lacks leaders. When it was the same the end of last season, and it's the same the start of this season. When the tempo drops or the team is not playing well, you need a. And I'm not just saying a Barry Ferguson type. Even a Barron's got to go and make a tackle, get the crowd up. Like Kevin Thompson used to. He's just came to the club, but we need leaders. When the tempo drops, we need someone to be pushing the players on and telling the players, look, guys, the tempo's dropped here. We need to get that tempo going. No? Hopefully, Proper is going to be that, and Barron can be that. And I think Dessers is a bit of a leader, but we need to see it a bit more.
No, I think that's a good point that you make. And just on that, Ricky, if we take in the weekend's game, I think that we saw that Proper is not going to be the commanding centre-half type. I think your eyes don't lie to you straight away. He's a ball-playing centre-half. So what I'm worried about is that we still lack that physicality at the back. It can be Proper, and then somebody has to match him, but that other person has to be the guy that goes and attacks every header, is physically dominating and has that recovery pace. It's a concern that our player like that in our backline is the 36-year-old Liam Balogun, who is struggling to play tomorrow. So I think we've got all players there like, Suter, Ben Davis, Proper, are all of a certain type, and we don't have anything that is a natural fit beside them. So going forward, do you think that is something we must address before the window? And with Balogun not playing tomorrow, do you think he'll just keep it the same, Proper and Suter?
He doesn't have a choice. Tomorrow he doesn't have a choice. But I really like the look of Proper. I think he's going to really be an excellent signing for us. And it's difficult to find a defender for the left side. But I hope we bring in a right centre-back. We all wanted John Suter to do well, and we all said, look, let's give him a run in his natural position. But at the start of the season, he needs to get his finger out, because he's playing worse this season than he was last season, Like, he was making that one mistake, two mistakes, but the right side of our defence, if you're watching that as an opposition manager or the analysis team, you're just going to target that area all the time, You saw the goal that we lost, the right-hand side. Tav's lazy to get out to the guy. He crosses it from 40 yards. There's no communication, and then Proper puts it in the net. I wasn't for putting it in the net, but I thought he should have communicated better with Suter,
No, and I think that's a concern for me, Scott, is the fact that if you look at the goal that we did lose, as Ricky highlighted, it's a goal that we've lost several times before. John Suter, we were all told last season, wait till he's playing on the right-hand side of the defence and all these wee niggly mistakes that he's been having will be eradicated. But fast forward into this season, he's played the vast majority of his games at right centre-half. And I don't understand, for a player of his physical attributes, why he keeps getting caught under the ball, misjudges the flight of the ball, is out of position at times. I think he's been culpable in the last 2 goals that we've lost. He's played a part in both. And for me, if he's a consistent theme going forward this season, I think that is a position that, as Ricky says, teams will target, and I think it is a worry.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing very nervously, isn't he? Even looking at him, he's nervous in case he makes a mistake, and then he usually does. Listen, we all want his sort of to do well. When he played with Hearts, he was that player we were looking for, but we all know playing with Hearts or somebody else is different than playing with Rangers because the pressure's different. The way they play football is different. You're under, if you draw or get beat, you might be under as much criticism as you are. So everything's tenfold playing with Rangers, but he looks awfully nervous. He looks very nervous, John, and I don't know why, because we all know he's a decent footballer. But on the goal, at the time, I thought Tav should do better, but see when you see on the telly, he's 40 yards out. To be honest with you, I thought it was closer to goal. Tav should have maybe get closer. I'm not saying he shouldn't have, maybe he should have, right? But that was hit a long distance. So I'm not blaming Tav as much as Suter. Suter's misjudged that. If he'd done it properly, it'd have been cleared. But he takes a touch and Popper doesn't expect him to take a touch, and he just does an instinct, whereas you stick your foot out to try and stop it going to the person behind you, and obviously when he stuck his foot out, it's went into the net, and Butland's not expecting that either, so the time he dives, it's past him. But I just think it's a very, very silly goal to lose, and it's a very sloppy goal to lose, and it comes for nothing, because Motherwell, it wasn't a dangerous ball, it was just a ball into the box, it wasn't a dangerous ball, and we do that too often. So I think tomorrow night, he's probably going to play the 2 together. I think, to be honest with you, he has to stick to a pairing. I think constantly changing it doesn't help either. I don't think it helps the keeper, and I don't think it helps any individual who's going to be there but playing with a different partner all the time. You have to be in a partnership. You can start to understand each other, start to grow, and start to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses. And I don't think we've had that for a long time, because the centre-backs keep changing. And Curry's game a bit of time in it, Tav jogged over. I'm not saying he never, but I'm just saying the ball came for that long a distance. I think it was even after it went by Tav, I think we should have still dealt with it.
No, I think that's fair comment, Scott. Obviously, it is a game of opinions, and not everybody will agree at times. But for me, it is an issue that needs addressed. We do have a weak centre. And Ricky, last week when we played Dynamo Kiev in the away fixture, they seemed to target us down the left-hand side. And their right back, I think it was Karavayev, seemed to get a lot of joy. You said you expect teams to attack us down the right-hand side. So do you think that they've maybe done a bit of homework now and might exploit our weaknesses tomorrow and might try something a bit different? Is that something that we have to be wary of? And because of that, will that see the introduction of Dujon Sterling in midfield, and will sacrifice the 10 tomorrow to play him for the start?
Good question. So the first question about Dynamo Kiev, they're very much a transition team. They want to break on you at pace, so I don't think it really matters for them whether it's down the left or down the right. To be fair, I like Yilmaz, but I just think he had a bad night. It's the start of the season. I think he had a bad night in Kiev. But I think Yilmaz, from what I've seen when he's been fit, he's actually quite a decent defender. I think he's a better defender than Borna, so hopefully he has a better night down the left. Now, in midfield, it's an interesting one. I'm 50-50 on this. Lawrence has played a lot of minutes and stuff like that, and I would bring Sterling in, but I would have liked to have tried it from the start on Saturday. I think it's such a massive game on Tuesday to change everything around on Tuesday and just suddenly put Diamandi in the 10 and Sterling in the 6 and Barron in a different position when they've not really done it since the start of the season. It's such a big night for us that Clement can't afford to get it wrong. And but to be honest, it's been really difficult to pick his teams since the start of the season. It's been almost impossible to pick his teams. So what he's going to do, I don't know. What I would do, I think I would probably, at a push, keep Lawrence in the team just because we've been playing that way since the start of the season. I think it's a big risk just to chuck Sterling in there and expect the midfield to be perfect, It's such a big game just to try something different.
Well, no, that's a fair argument, Ricky. And Kerr, if we take Ricky's point, I think the thing that we do lack is physicality, and I always say that we're short of that at the centre back position. We're short of that in midfield at times because Diamandi's having to play deep when Lawrence is in the team, and I think that affects Diamandi. We've seen on social media he's been attacked by your own kind. I hate to see that at times. I get that you get nut jobs at every club, and I don't subscribe to promoting that. But the fact is, he's obviously changed his social media stats in a way that he can't be contacted or whatever. However, if we take that into consideration, is the fact that he's maybe playing a bit deeper affecting him because he's not able to get on the ball in the positions to hurt teams. Therefore, the introduction of Sterling will afford him that luxury to influence himself in the game, and he'll have more legs higher up the pitch than what a Tom Lawrence would have. So where do you come in? Are you with Ricky on this one, or do you think that Sterling will play tomorrow?
I think he has to play somewhere. I think you have to bring him in just for his physicality, just because of what he offers him defensively as well. And he helps out Tavernier at full-back as well, and he would help out Cherny in the wide position. But I think Tom Lawrence is getting a lot of leeway the way he's been playing recently. I don't think he's been great. We know what Tom can offer and what he can't, but I think there's times during the game where his legs aren't great, to be honest with you, because he is getting on a bit and he's playing that 10 position. But I think sometimes he struggles even more later the game goes on, and he's no one he seems to take off. I don't know why he doesn't want to play the 6 and 2 8s. Maybe that's not his formation. He likes the 10. But I think with Diamand in there, he could offer you positions a 10, but he could also track back. But I don't think he'll do it tomorrow night. I think he's probably got his team set up roughly the way it's set up on Saturday. I don't think Clermont's big for changing it very often unless it's necessary to do it. Because I think he's stubborn that way, and these guys are training sessions and fitness, so I don't think he's going to make too many changes tomorrow night, Davey. I think he's going to go away probably tried and tested that he knows and he trusts.
And a big welcome and hello to the show for Scotty from the Rangers Journal. Scotty, how are we, my friend?
Aye, not bad, mate. Sorry I'm late on. It was unavoidable.
No problem. No, thanks very much.
Is all right?
Not bad, Scotty.
Oh, good here, mate. So we're just touching on the midfield for the morning. Ricky came out with the point that he doesn't think Clermont will deviate for the fact that he's played Barron and Diamandi together with Lawrence in front. Do you think that he'll keep that tomorrow, or do you think he will introduce Sterling? And if it was up to you, how would you shape up?
Oh, if it was up to me, I would be keeping Barron and Diamandi with Hagi anytime. That's what I would be doing, personally. Or TikTok Todd. I don't think Tom Lawrence is doing it just now. He's averaging a 6 out of 10. One of the boys in the journal chat put stats in a day, and it was like he'd lost possession 7 times and a really, really bad game on Saturday. Didn't really have much involvement. But ideally, I would like to see Sterling coming into midfield and Diamandi pushed forward, but I think he'll go with the tried and trusted 3, even though we don't trust him, the manager seems to.
No, that's a fair point. And Ricky, the manager spoke at length at the press conference about a number of different things, and we've touched on a couple of them. But the one curveball that I sort of picked up on was when he was talking about Ross McCausland, and he says in the way that they've been shaping up is he's been getting Ross McCausland to play on the left-hand side in training. He's saying it's something that the player himself had never done last season. It had never been introduced to him, but he thinks that he could do a job on either wing. So do you see that being the curveball tomorrow? Obviously, if we look at the Kiev game, you have to come on in the second half and look really encouraging going forward. But do you think it's a game to throw him in for the start? Because the one thing that concerns me at the moment, if it goes wrong, we don't have a lot of options on the bench. So does he maybe start a bit more cautious and then throw caution to the wind later on?
Well, I'm in Curry's camp. We need someone to kidnap Scott Wright, that's for sure. Someone kidnap him. So that's the only way he's not going to pick him. That would be a start. McCausland, I can't see McCausland starting from the left, to be honest with you. I don't think so. I think it will be Yefte, and I think it will be Cherny. Cherny from the right will be. That's pace. They've both got good pace. They were both fantastic in the second half in Kiev, you know. The good thing about Yefte is he whips the ball in nice and early. You know, he can cross from anywhere. And we've not had someone like that on the wing for so long that just gets the ball and just crosses it into the box, you know. And Cherny was sensational against Motherwell. Once he gets fit, I was actually devastated when I found out he was on loan and we don't have an obligation to buy. Again, come on, guys, you know, he was so good against Motherwell, so hopefully he can continue that he seemed to enjoy the big pitch. He was about the only one that enjoyed Hampden on Saturday. He enjoyed the big pitch and the big spaces, so hopefully we'll see the same again tomorrow night.
Kerr, obviously the bench is a problem at the moment because the guys that are even on it at the moment, Clement is choosing not to use them, whether that be a fitness issue or for different reasons. So do we have a contingency plan if things don't go to plan? I mean, how do we change it? Do we shape up and maybe just shape up similar to last week and then have the options to bring on? Or if we go for broke for the start, are we leaving ourselves in a sort of sticky situation?
I know what you're saying, David, but I think it's a difficult one because I think we'll have to go for it, but also the way we defend at times, it will be difficult because if they score one goal, you don't know if that team shits the bed. Do you know what I mean? Because we've seen it before. So I think it's difficult. I think it'll go with tried and tested, like I've said before. Listen, I don't think with many changes, I would like to see Sterling playing, but I don't know if he will. But I like to see Sterling in the team. I know it's to walk about Ross McCausland, and Ross started the game last week, which I wouldn't mind if he started in the left and Cherny in the right, to be honest with you. It means I think Ross is a good player. I think he will improve. I know a lot of folk, he's a kind of enigma with some people as well, but I think there's something there with Ross.
Well, Kerr, see when you said that about playing Ross McCausland on the left and Cherny on the right, if we play with wingers who come inside on their natural foot, does that not allow our fullbacks to advance on the opposition and pin them in? So might that be the idea why you might throw that wee curve ball in?
Well, that's what the fullbacks have usually do. I mean, Ridvan likes to go forward, doesn't he? He does like to come inside as well, but he likes to go forward. We've seen Tav doing it through the years. As James Tavernier get a legs to do it again this season? I don't know what's happened with Tavernier this season. I thought in Saturday at times he looked okay, but other times he was back to what we've seen him in pre-season. I know he had an injury in pre-season and stuff like that, so before the season started, I don't know if he had an operation or whatever, but I think we done a right back, but I don't think we'll get one through the door. Jeffy was mentioned. I know he came on and changed the game last week, but I don't think he'll start him. I just don't. I feel he'll kick on into this game. And I hope, listen, no disrespect to Scott, he is getting a lot of power, and it's not the boy's fault he's playing. If you're told you're playing, you don't say no. But I think he's played 3 games in a row. I think he needs a rest, and I think you have to bring somebody else in there. For Danilo, your guess is as good as mine. I don't know if he was stripped again or no, because he's well sitting with his shoes on the bench, and he knows football, but it's never really like it's on the park.
I mean, Scotty, if we take the point that Kerr makes, you brought up Ianis Hagi, and there's been a lot of talk. Obviously, there was a non-paper story that broke just before the weekend saying that we were offering him to clubs for nothing. Obviously, the manager on Friday said that that's a lot of rubbish, and at least he didn't know anything about that. He's kind of putting the noises out that, you know, he still wants to be here, although his agent, to be fair, the whole summer said that, we're looking to get him away. While he's still there, though, do we not have an obligation to maximise his value by using him? Because we don't have enough players of his quality, and certainly that have the gift of being comfortable on both feet. He's never really played in the 10 for me at Rangers, which surprises me. He's always played sort of right side of the 10 when it was the Gerrard formation, and then he was parked out to the right-hand side under Van Bronckhorst. So is it a concern to you that we're not using him at all at the moment?
Aye. That's Ianis Hagi we're talking about, yeah. Aye. Did you see his goals for B team?
Top quality, mate.
First time
Incredible.
volley, free kick. And all right, I think it was the first one. It was Bailey Rice intercepts and plays him in. Still takes his chance. Still finishes it. It was the only player representing Rangers at the Euros. He's both footed. He's gave his great memories against Braga. He's a major goal contributor in the 55 season. As much as he took on a big injury, boys, he's not really had a chance at Rangers since that injury. And the boy's got undoubted talent. To me, it's there. He's proved he can do it in a Rangers jersey. So why we're not... I mean, as his hat-trick for a B team, his Instagram posts have been a wee bit cryptic as well. Like tagging home and things like that. I don't know. It's odd. It's CGM. Sorry, I think it must have been Kerr Robertson. I can't remember what one it was. It was number 6 anyway. That's why I assumed it was Bailey Rice. But Hagi's just been wasted. He's been completely wasted. Now, is there not something in his... There's been rumours in the comments when I've been doing a journal that he's got a clause in his contract that if he triggers another appearance, it's another year on his deal. See if he plans to sell him. Should they really make a difference? Should it? Do you know what I mean? If he plans to sell him, then stick him in the team. It's pretty obvious he's one of our better players in that position just now. In a midfield that's low in depth. Beale tried him in centre mid as well. He can also play there. He can play anywhere across the front three. We're lacking depth on the wing areas with Cortez being injured as well just now. That's why you're seeing Diddy's like Scott Wright play on the left. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be disrespectful to Scott Wright, but that's exactly what he is. He's an absolute Diddy, and he's done nothing for Rangers and a couple of goals at Hampden, and that's passable. No, I'm sorry, not for me. I would like to see Hagi, who would be much slower, but he can still pick a pass. Seen some of the boys Cherney was playing on Saturday. Hagi's a very similar type of player, can play passes like that, needle in a haystack and all that type of stuff. But we can sit here and say he should be playing, he shouldn't. Ultimately, it falls down to the manager. And if Rangers get put out tomorrow night, that also falls on the manager. Do you know what I mean?
No, that's a very good point that you make there,
Davey.
Yep.
Davey, just jump in there quickly. I mean, we've got players that are absolutely invisible. Like we bring on Dowell game after game. You've got Scott Wright starting, Matondo exactly the same. Like, what do these guys actually contribute? Why do they keep getting chances? Why do they keep getting opportunities? You know, I know we've spoke about our youth academy before, but it's these guys seem to just get like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 chances. It's getting ridiculous, you know. That's what frustrates fans. It really, really does frustrate the fans, having to watch the same players just deliver absolutely nothing every weekend, you know.
Ricky, I'm going to come back to you on this one, Matondo. Obviously, he tends to do his best stuff when teams tire and in the last sort of 20, 25 minutes of games. With Hampden being that bigger pitch or the way it's set up, could he be the guy that might get us something that we need tomorrow? And should we use him in that fashion? Because we don't have too many options at the moment, especially the ones that are included in the European squad. He is one of them.
He's capable of rattling in a long range shot, like last 5-10 minutes. If the game is if we're winning by 1 goal, or I wouldn't be against bringing him on. But he's been a massive disappointment. What's that? His third season he's been with us now, and we've never seen any consistency, any run of games where you thought, oh, there might be something there. Last season, he maybe came off the bench a couple of times. Obviously, scored that great goal against Celtic, but that was like 2 or 3 games he went on a run, and that's it. We need to see. He's one of the ones that, and the invisibles for me. They just don't. You don't see it enough. You need to see it a lot more.
No, consistency is something that we lack across the board. But Kerr, if we're talking about consistency, I think the theme certainly last season that the one player that was mighty consistent for us was Jack Butland, and he done the press conference for the players today, and he was obviously come out and saying that for him there was never really nothing in the paper talk or the transfer rumours. he spoke at length at the board during the summer in regards to the vision for the club going forward. So is that a positive? He's always been a guy that speaks really well. He's first class when it comes to sort of how media trained he is. Do you think he's saying all the right things, and do you expect him to stay here? And is that a comfort to you, the things that he was saying today?
Yeah, I mean, I know I said if I got a decent offer for Jack, I'd have to think about it because I'm not getting any money. But if Jack Butland stays this season, I'll be extremely happy because he's probably one of the ones in the dressing room that everybody looks to, if not the one, because the way he speaks about the club, it's like he's been here forever. You can see he wants to win stuff. You can see he wants the club going in the right direction. To me, he should be captain. That's just my opinion. But I'm happy if he stays, Davey. I think we've not got many people like that in the dressing room, to be honest with you. And I think he's one of the ones. He'll be good for the young guys coming through, and he might be the one that also tells the other guys you're not doing enough. So Jack Butland, to me, is one of the leaders, and we've not got many, as you all know.
Scotty, if I take it back to pre-season and towards the end of last season, there was sort of concerns in regards to a little dip in his performances. However, he did pull off a big save at the weekend, which we were accustomed to seeing regularly last season. Is it for you the fact that he's firmly focused on Rangers? And the fact is, he's got 3 years remaining on his contract. So if the time to sell, he has one more good season, we can think about selling him next year. It's no a necessity that he goes, because I think we'll probably find ourselves having bigger problems if he leaves before the window.
I can't see Jack Butland going anywhere, to be honest with you, lads. I think he's happy here. He's content. I don't think he's at a stage where he's at the end of his cycle. Like, he's done everything in the Rangers jersey and he's not motivated to play. I think he's thriving up here. I think he thrives. He's got a big game mentality, a big club mentality. So I think one, which is the most important thing, is he's happy. Two, I think the club's happy with him. And three, I don't think there's any interest. And see, if there was going to be interest, I don't think it would need to be Saudi money that come in. So I don't think anybody's going to come in and pay 15, 20 million for him. Do you know what I mean? It's no... I think if it was going to happen, it would have happened during the whole England thing, between January and the beginning of the summer. And you can put his lack of form at the end of the season, don't you? I mean, that was the first time a guy had played 55, 60 games a season in probably maybe not his career, but
a good 4 or 5 years,
Aye, exactly. So naturally, form is going to taper off a wee bit. Thankfully, he got all his errors out of the way in pre-season, and now he looks as if he's back to his best. He looks focused. He looks up for it. He's demanding his defenders. He's got the lot, and I'm really settled with goalkeeping situation. I think in Liam Kelly, you've got a reliable number two, who's as Clement says in his press every day, he's also contributing to the story, was his words. So that tells me he's having a big say in the background. He's a Rangers lad, knows everything that's going on in the background, can contribute with leadership skills and stuff off the park. I'm really, really settled with the goalkeeping situation. I've just seen something on Twitter, and it's something to do with Ianis Hagi's now leaning towards staying at Rangers. I don't know if that's something you want to quickly yap about, but
we'll touch on that then, because if you think about it, as I said earlier on, his agent has made a lot of sort of murmurings in the summer, as if to say, we'll spoke to the club, we'll look to get him away. Clement said that last week in a press conference, that he's not going to be considered as part of the team, because we've had the chat with him and his agent, and now we seem to be doing a backtrack. Is that because he's just got the obvious quality we need, and while we're struggling to get bodies both out the door and in, we might as well use the quality that's there, Scotty?
Well, Davey, Rangers Review tweeted out that Ianis Hagi is believed to be keen on a stay at Rangers. However, midfielder is not part of Philippe Clement's present plans. Plans at present, with a wage clause a sticking point. So there's our answer. So can Rangers maybe get round a table and sort something out for us, lad? Do you know what I mean? Come to some kind of fucking arrangement with him and fix it and get him back in the park. Because, see the one-touch football we played on Saturday? Ianis Hagi is perfect for that in that number 10 role. honestly, see linking up play and hitting, getting shots away, playing the ball in behind the defence. I even think he'd make Dessers look even better, who I'm going to say has clamped me just now because he's scoring goals. Do you know what I mean? Why not just get him in a team and figure something out? Like get his agent round the table and get this lad back in the park, man.
Get his agent on the pod. Come on.
Exactly. Exactly.
I mean, Ricky, do you subscribe to the fact that he's got that obvious quality at the moment that we need? As Scotty makes a great point in terms of, I think, see when you seen Czerny come on at Tynecastle, he looked to play 1 and 2 touch stuff, and nobody was on the same wavelength as him. Do you know what I mean? His movement off the ball, he's looking to release it quickly and move into the space. Hagi is that type of player that understands the sort of football intellect, and I don't think we have enough players like that. Whilst he's still in the building, should we still be using him?
Well, I don't think you're going to see him in the next 18 days, put it that way, before the window closes. It's too short a period for him to get back integrated into training. And Clement doesn't seem to me like an easy guy who's going to just forgive and forget. I think he's made his mind up. But if we get towards the end of the window and we can't find anything better, then I definitely think there might be... It wouldn't surprise me if he ended up staying another season, put it that way, you know. And a team has got to come in and take him. He's another one that's on huge wages. If a team doesn't come in and take him, then how's that situation going to play out? You know, I mean, I don't believe the stories in the paper are absolutely bonkers. I don't know if you saw the story about Cifuentes, that we are apparently paying his wages for 1 year, and he's on 15 to 20 grand a week, and we're paying his wages and sending him over to Greece for a holiday for a year. And then you're going to trust the Greeks to give you 4.5 million at the end of the year. What kind of business is that? So we'll have to wait and see what happens at the end of the window. But I wouldn't be surprised if he's still here. I still think he'll go, but I wouldn't be surprised if he's still here.
And just on Jack Butland, Ricky, because I never get a chance to come to you in regards to that.
Yeah.
Do you think he's hampered by the fact that he's never had a settled back four in front of him the whole time he's been at Rangers? It's chopped and changed. It might have just been one of the back four, but then last year we kept changing left backs at different times. You know, the year, the one consistent's always been Tav at right back, but it looked in pre-season that we were trying to phase him out and maybe make Sterling that his natural position. So does Jack Butland need a settled back four for us to get the best out of Jack Butland?
Definitely. When we won the title, when we won 55, the defence was a massive part of the reason that we were able to bring the title back home, because the defence was keeping clean sheet after clean sheet. And last season, when Clement came in, we were keeping clean sheet. And then towards the end of the season, it just seemed to flip, and then it was an absolute disaster. So I'm not a big fan of rotating defenders too much, to be honest. I know that these guys need a break now and again and they play a lot of games, but I would be trying to keep as settled a back four as we possibly can. And I've been really impressed with Butland since the start of the season. I know we've spoken a few of the pods in the past that we were a bit concerned about his form in pre-season, but he's shot us all up and he's been fantastic. So hopefully that continues moving forward. And I think he's going to need to have a big game. He's going to need to have a big game tomorrow night for sure, because we've got to get through and get this money. So I've got faith in Butland, but he definitely needs a settled back four, definitely.
Okay, Ricky makes a point there at the end in regards to, you know, the money that hangs on this tie, which I think is between sort of £4 and £5 million if we get through to the next round. Clement was asked the question today at his presser if that is important in terms of him getting players in, players out, and he kind of, you know, answered it in a way that it wouldn't be too important for him. But for you, is it a concern that we must get through for that, because the finance is important? One, because obviously we want to progress to the next round and hopefully get in the Champions League. But two, without that money, what kind of squad are we going to have?
Without that money, probably similar to the squad we've got now. Listen, we all know we've not got a lot of money flying about. That's why he's needing to move players out to bring players in. That's just the way that is at the club at the moment. But surely with some kind of contingency plan, because we've done it before We didn't make Champions League. We kind of didn't go and buy players to try and get it. We waited until we were in it before we went. We never got in. So I don't know. We have to invest. We have to bring someone in, because sometimes if you leave it the way we are, we're going to struggle. And that's why when Scotty mentioned Hagi and yourself, and I don't know why he's not using them. If his contract does go up, it goes up. Listen, if he's going to get a transfer, they're still going to be paying his wages anyway. And but the guy's playing for the B team, he doesn't. He's not really sulking somewhere, and he's no more than growing. He's playing for the B team. He's putting in a lot of effort. Why not give him a game, especially when we're struggling? And I've never bought into, if you're not getting any pace, you can't play in Scotland. That's nonsense. It just depends. It just depends where they play you. See, when we played them out wide, it might have been different. But even there's a lot of players in football who don't have pace, but they can beat players. They can bend the ball around them, and they can do it. So I think Hagi in the squad would be an asset. I'm going to say he'll come in and be a game changer for the full season, but I think having him in the squad and not having him in the squad, I think we're better with him in it. We can see what he can do. We've seen it in the past when he's had confidence. I mean, he's on full floor. We can see what he can offer. You look at Tom Lawrence's stats. They've not been great recently. Scott Wright's not been great recently. You're not going to say to me Hagi's going to be worse than they two. No chance. But I do agree. Clement, I don't, for some reason, does he want to put him there? Have they fell out? I don't know. I just, like I said at the start, David, myself and Clement, I'm kind of 50-50 on him. Like I said, I'm half out the door, half in the door. I don't know if he's going to be here for 4 years, because for every good decision he makes two bad ones that I don't agree with. So I don't know where his leading is. On Saturday, you thought for 30 minutes, this is looking really good. They put a lot of decent stuff, and then last 30 minutes of the game, we were hanging on. We thought we could concede here, but obviously we never, thankfully. But tell me, substitutions on the day. Sometimes it looks good, and sometimes it doesn't. My big bugbear is the young guys. It doesn't give any of them a chance. Baylor Rice, Cole McKinnon. They just, if they're not going to get a chance, where's they're going to go? And that's, you can't say, well, it's not their fault they're leaving. They'll go to someone else in the game time and then maybe get sold again for big money, but we're not going to give them this chance. I'd rather Cole McKinnon played 10 games straight and Scott Wright, or Baylor Rice played games and Dawo or Matondo. I'm not a fan of the two. I mean, Matondo just runs in straight lines. And if there isn't lines at the end of the pitch, we still keep running because he doesn't know when to stop at times. So I think Clement's got his work cut out, but I also think he's his own worst enemy. And I don't know, like you said earlier, is he getting? I don't know who's getting advice for. He always comes to me and says, he needs to hear the medical side of stuff. See if a footballer turns around and says to you, I'm fit, and you think he's fit, give him a game. And see, I put him on the bench and then not playing him, because that to me is a lot worse.
No, I mean, Scotty, if I come to you, because it's been a couple of weeks since we last spoke to you, there's been guys on the periphery that seem to be getting phased in. And the one consistent sort of sub that he's made recently has been Dowell. He seems to like Dowell as a 6 in the last sort of 20 minutes of the game. Now, the guy is a natural sort of 10 or attacking midfielder. We seem to, subscribe to this fact that we'll play players out of position who are classed as senior players before blooding a youngster who that is their natural position. Is that a concern for you that Clement seems to use the same sort of, pocket of maybe 14, 15 guys and never really deviates for that?
Just quickly touching upon what Kerr says about Tom Lawrence there, I've got his stats there. So his stats against Motherwell on Saturday: 27 touches, 16 out of 20 accurate passes, 0 key passes, 0 big chances created, lost possession 7 times, and he won 2 of 7 duels. So there's Tom Lawrence. In terms of the rest of them, they're just not good enough. Dibble done it in wee patches last season, scored against Motherwell. No doubt he's got the ability, but his injury record and his injury history doesn't fill you with confidence, and I don't think his Rangers career's ever going to get up to any kind of standard. No matter what Clement does with a magic sponge in the medical room. In terms of Rabbi Matondo, he'll hit a purple patch at some point. Days usually will come in, score maybe goal contributions for 7 matches, and then he'll get injured, and then he's awful start-stop. It's like guys like Nico Raskin, you've got them everywhere. Rid van Yilmaz is annoying. You've got them everywhere throughout the team. The guys that have stop-start, that need moved on. I'm not saying Yilmaz needs moved on, but at least of the fringe players day. I would rather see at least a Bailey Rice coming in and playing at 6, even instead of do John Sterling at times. Like Saturday's a prime example of when you could have done it. We were 2-1 up against Motherwell. Bring him in a pressure situation, see what he does. Bring Sterling in somewhere else. Bring Sterling in to go with 2 6s for last. If that's the way managers want to shore up the game. Cole McKinnon, I think he's already shown he's willing to play anywhere for a jersey. You've got Zach Lovelace there training with first team. He's not even been on the bench yet. There's loads and loads. Archie Stevens is there. There's loads and loads that's on the peripheries that could be getting games ahead of these guys that are coming in. And I mean, what did Matondo contribute when he came on Saturday, lads? Like, I think he had a shot and goal that was awful. That's really about it, isn't it? Like, there's no Kieran Dowell never done anything. I don't get the thinking behind it, but then I'm not the Rangers manager. I've not got my coaching badges, so I don't know what he sees after these guys in training. So it's hard to properly sit and criticise. Because his subs last week against Kiev made a difference, and we got a goal in the last minute because of them. So it's difficult to kind of try and criticise it constantly. But what I would say is, like, guys like Scott Wright and the left, it needs to stop. It's not working. That's when you need to bring in a youth player and play him in the left, or give somebody a chance that's actually wanting to make an impression and not get the ball stuck under his feet after it gets a great pass off a Cherney.
What I'll say to you, see, is there's a boy in deal like McCowan. Supposed to be looking between 500,000, 700,000 for him. And he's probably on a big wage there. Do you think something like that could come in and make a difference to us?
100%.
He'd be hungry to show he's good enough.
Look at Barron. Like the reason the fans have got behind Barron so quick, it's not that he's Iniesta or his Xavi. It's just he's got heart. He's got dig about him. He wants to play for the jersey. He's got energy about him in the midfield. Right. We've not seen that. The difference between Barron and John Lundstrom, who the manager said he was missing, is chalk and cheese. He gets the ball off the defence. He wants to play the ball fast. He's energetic in the midfield, you know. And that's all we want to see. You bring on these players. You bring on these players from the bench. It's not that we want to criticise them. You want to see something from Scott Wright. You want to see something from Matondo. You see absolutely nothing. It's the same drivel every single week to week, the same crap. None of these guys. I watched Bailey Rice last week for the B team, the highlights. He absolutely bossed the game from number 6, through balls, through the lines, absolutely fantastic. And then you'll have people arguing with you on Twitter, oh, he's not good enough, he's rubbish, he's young. If he was good enough, he would be playing. And you're like, oh, Jesus, you know, it drives me crazy. Absolutely crazy sometimes.
I even thought Lennon Miller, for Motherwell on Saturday,
100%, another one.
Comfortable. And I don't think he would look a miss for our midfield, but the only thing is he's 17 and he's probably not old enough to play with us because the manager doesn't seem to pick guys that age.
We'll see if we turn our attentions, Ricky, to tomorrow. Obviously, you were saying that they are a team that like to play and catch the opposition out in transitions and play the quick counter. So the right back really impressed me last week. I thought he looked a decent enough player. They've obviously got Yarmolenko, seasoned pro. How do you see it going? I won't say too many more names after my pronunciations last week, but do you have any fears going into tomorrow? Do you think that on the evidence of what you saw last week, we should have enough to take care of them?
Fan David Ozialenko, I like that one. That was very funny. No, it's going to be a tough match. We're not in a position that we can just expect to turn up to Hampden and absolutely roll this team over. I think the game is going to be very similar to what it was like last week. And to be fair, I thought we actually had the better of the match last week, so I'm expecting it to be similar. Hopefully we can get an early goal, or at least play like we did in the first half against Motherwell. Maybe get a goal, get 2 goals in front and make it an easy night. But we just need to get through. That's all, David. We just need to win. We need the money. We cannot afford to go out of Europe in this first qualifying match. So the manager has to pick the right team. That's his job, and we have to get through and get this money banked. I know it's only 5 million, but 5 million for us right now is a lot of money. So hopefully Clement picks the right team, gets the job done, and then we'll have a nice positive podcast on Wednesday.
Kiev, for you, on the evidence of what you saw, do you have any fears? The one that I think that we're susceptible to is set pieces. So we need to be, clever and not give away daft free kicks and watch yourself at corners, because they do have a couple of physical guys in there. And as we've seen in the balance of play during pre-season and the start of this season, long high balls, cross balls, balls over the top, we look really susceptible to that.
We do, but we're going to have to learn not to be. That's the way football is. You're going to get teams putting long balls into you, long throws into you. It's still the nature of the game. I think Proper will help with that. I think he reads the game very well. I know it was his first match, but I think he's reading the game is good. He likes the ball on the ground. He likes to go forward. And when he does make a pass, he wants to pass forward as well, which I like. But he's reading the game is good. His interceptions are very good. I know Suter tries that and maybe misses, but he seems to done okay on Saturday. And yeah, I know he scored an OG, like I said, but I wouldn't blame him for that. And I think the more he plays with his teammates, the more he plays in our type of football, we'll get used to it. And for the money he cost, he was a steal. So I think he'll help with that. We need another centre back in. Davis isn't the answer, but I don't know if we're able to get rid of him. Suter, to me, he's got too many mistakes on him, and he's not playing any confidence at the moment. He's playing like a rabbit, stuck with headlights going to him. He's just scared to make a mistake, and that's when he does. And Balogun, for all we like him, but supposedly he's injured again. Do you know that way? So, but another centre half costs you money, Davey. So I don't know if we're going to get money for it. So listen, we've got a chance tomorrow night. If it was 1-0, 1-8, we've got a chance. But they're going to be a threat because they've got players who can punish you. So we're going to have to box clever. We're going to have to set up properly and not give them the opportunities. So it will be a tense game tomorrow night. And I know it's at Hampden, a bit further away, but the crowd are going to have to try and make a difference. I thought on Saturday we were a bit quiet at times, but you know yourself, the crowd goes up when the team's playing well, when the team starts to make mistakes. You do get panicky, and that's when that starts going into the crowd and you feel it. But guys like Barron in the park, who makes a tackle, who runs about, and I know runs about, no what he's doing. He runs about to win the ball back and stuff like that. I think he gets the crowd up, so I'm looking forward to a game. I'm confident 50-50 because I think it can go each way. Either way, I think the game can go.
Scotty, if we take what Kerr said about Hampden, obviously European nights at Ibrox under the lights, it seems to be our thing in recent years that it got the escapism for the domestic league and everybody got up for it. I think Kerr makes a great point in terms of the atmosphere on Saturday, being that wee bit further away from the pitch makes that harder to transcend onto it. So does that have any concerns or fears for you, the more? And what are you hoping to see for your team the more? As you expect us to be on the front foot and go at them right for the off?
That's what I want to see. I want to see is going for a jugular. I want to see is winning 50-50s. And Connor Barnes going to be massive in that. I agree with everything Ricky says on Connor Barnes. I think he's just so many simple tackles he's winning in the middle of the park. That can be very crucial tomorrow night. And I think to John Sterling in there with Diamandi pushed forward, we give you the right kind of balance that's needed. Win a battle in the middle of the park and then just kind of go for there. You win all your 50-50s first, the quality can kind of come through. In terms of the atmosphere, I think it is going to have an effect, but the players need to give the fans something to cheer about first. And that's coming out and playing for a badge, as we used to say when we were all growing up. But you wanted players that played for a badge and won your 50-50s and all that kind of stuff. So that's what Scottish football used to be all about. It's a lot more technical minded now. If we come out and do that, the fans will come on side and then hopefully we can get some form of atmosphere. It's going to be nothing like Ibrox, because I just don't think Hampden's a very good stadium altogether. I think they'd be as well knocking it down and starting again. It's very similar to a stadium West Ham went to after Upton Park. You know, it's got a big gap for the stand onto the park and no noise transcends. It makes for a horrible atmosphere. And it's not a football park. It's not a football stadium to me. It's made for a Commonwealth or the Olympics or whatever. But we're here. It's a card we've been dealt, and we just need to make the best of a bad situation. But it needs to start with a team set the tempo tomorrow night, David.
No, I think we all agree with that. I'll just go around the guys. for a quick prediction before we leave. So if you want to get yours in the comments, we certainly will bring them up. I'll start with Mr. Scott Kerr. Rangers at home to Dynamo Kiev tomorrow. What's your score and who's your first goal scorer?
I think we'll win 2-1, but it'll be after extra time. So we'll give everybody a heart attack during the 90 minutes. First goal scorer, I think they'll score first, David, and I think we'll come back.
Well, what I was thinking about there, imagine MD travelling by train tomorrow and it goes to extra time. You've got a chance to get back for Hampden at that.
No, you're snooker.
Ricky, what about yourself?
I'm not going to change. I reckon it'll be 2-1, but I think we'll do it in 90 minutes. But I think it'll be one of the nervous 30 minutes to go job where Butland's got to pull off saves and it's backs to the wall. But I think we'll do it. I think we'll do it 2-1. Desser's first goal. The machine.
Scotty, what about yourself, mate?
I think we need to be very cautious about tomorrow. I think of the fan base think we're already through. Just because we got a result last season, we're all old enough to know that Rangers don't work like that. As much as I want to say it's going to be 2 or 3-0, I think it's going to be 1-0 or something. It's going to be very nervy tomorrow, I think.
No, I agree with you. My prediction is a 1-0 with a Tav VAR penalty. So I'm sure we'd all settle for that anyway. Just a wee reminder, if anybody wants to catch Scotty, his team over at the Rangers Journal do fantastic work. So please like, share, subscribe, follow them over there. You'll find them on Twitter. Everybody's handle for the podcast is on here as well. And hopefully, when you see us Wednesday, we'll be celebrating us advancing into the next round in the Champions League qualifiers. So it's goodbye from me and it's goodbye from them. Good night.